Hey Trina, how are you?
I'm doing great today.
Um, Great, that's good. I know, like for the audience, like me and Trina, we have been friends since like March or so. We met during a meeting at the Mark Thomas Foundation. The reason for us talking and interviewing each other is because we both have been diagnosed with sickle cell retinopathy, and I'm sharing this conversation to inform you guys on the different treatments and what we go through regarding the retinopathy for sickle cell patients. So, Trina, it's nice to have you on the phone, and it's nice, to talk to you. So, my first question for you is, what kind of sickle cell do you have, and when were you diagnosed?
Okay, great. It's nice talking as well. Well, I have SC hemoglobin disease. That is the one that is characterized with abnormally red blood cells shaped in the form of S's and C's. And I was diagnosed at birth, but I came into full awareness at the age of 13 when my mom sat me down and explained all of the details about having sickle cell.
Okay, yeah. And see, for me, I was also diagnosed with sickle cell at birth. My genotype is SS, and so we're similar. We have similar origin stories, let's say. Um, like in terms of the retinopathy, tell the people how you got the retinopathy and how does it feel to you right now.
Okay, I believe the retinopathy came about with the abnormally shaped red blood cells that circulates in our bodies. As you know, when the abnormal red blood cells go through different joints and tiny blood vessels, they tend to come together and cause what we refer to as a crisis, because it shuts off oxygen and nourishment to vital organs. So when my blood traveled through my eyes, those tiny blood vessels in my eyes, it shut off oxygen to the retina. So I believe that's how the retinopathy came about, because the retina has detached, causing me to be left with blindness in the left eye. So it was due to the sickle cell abnormally red blood cells circulating in my eyes. When it got to those tiny blood vessels, that's what caused the retinopathy. It had a crisis there.
All right, yeah. You mentioned retina detaching. That how did that feel? Because I'm pretty sure you don't feel, you only get one retina, um, in each eye. So how does the retina detaching describe that feeling?
I believe the retina detaching, it was more or less like you have a lot of headaches, you have like tension or pain or dry eye or whatever, but what you're seeing through your vision is like a downflow of rain in the color of black and charcoal floaters. And it's just raining, it's just raining charcoal floaters. Because I endured 6 eye surgeries, I was on medication a lot. So the feeling of the retina detaching, I can't exactly tell you when it detached, because I had like 6 eye surgeries, one in which required an arm bubble to hold the retina intact, another required an air bubble, and then some laser surgeries, and then a cataract was removed. So, it was underneath medication and everything at the time. And it's just, emotionally, it's just devastating, because it's like what you used to see, you can't see anymore. What you used to do, you can't do anymore, because now you have to rest your eye, rest your body, hydrate yourself, and be aware of the fact that your eyes are trying to heal, the blood vessels are trying to heal in there. But even after all of the eye surgeries, the retina is still detached, because, like I said, when those abnormal red blood cells come together, they cut off the vital oxygen and nourishment. And once those organs don't get the nourishment and the oxygen they need, they die out. So I think that's what truly had happened with the retinopathy.
Yeah. And so that part, like you mentioned, all the blood vessels are, the sickle cells, they are flowing in all of parts of your body, and your eyes, they have the ability to heal what the damage from sickle cell is, but it's also the healing process causes its own issues when it comes to the floaters and the leak blood, the retinopathy, causing it to detach the retina. Like, what I'm trying to get at is just what, because this is a very specific symptom for sickle cell patients. Is this something that you've been aware of your whole life, or is it something that you had to kind of, it caught you by surprise?
Oh gosh, it caught me by surprise. Yes. I had went to an eye doctor, and they was like checking me for eyeglass prescription, and she was like, "Oh, I see something back there. Let me double check. Oh, it's bleeding back there. Okay, I have to get you over to a retina specialist right away." So it caught me by surprise, and from there it continued, the surgery after surgery after surgery, with the crisis happening in my eye, in the left eye.
Right.
Yeah. So it is sickle cell retinopathy in itself, and our research it indicates it's like a silent, threatening eye disease that erupts unexpectedly.
Right, and that's the unfortunate part about it, because you can't really prepare for it. You can't predict it too much. And the question that leads to is what the treatments are. And I already know you mentioned you had 6 surgeries in the left eye. Those were basically just the treatments to not to reverse it, but just to, keep it from getting any worse. Like, it didn't heal it. It just, covered it up a little bit. So for people, did you go as soon as you started getting, the eye doctor said, "Oh, there's blood back there," and you went to the specialist? Did they say okay, we can do these surgeries in order to restore your eyes, or did they just say, "Oh, it's already too late. We're gonna have to work with what we have for the eyes to get, some sense of sight, but not, it isn't a guarantee." Basically, the question is, what did the doctors, what were their response, and was there any hope at that point for you to get back, to normal sight?
Yeah, there was a lot of hope. When I first went in, there was a lot of hope for me to get back into a normal sight. As a matter of fact, after the first eye surgery, they think they lasered it, and I came back and I still couldn't see. It was still blurry, like the rain was falling. And because in the beginning it was like floaters, and they'll say, "Oh, you can live with floaters. There's just 1 or 2, 3 floaters." But I noticed it was more and more floaters. So when I went to the eye doctor, I was, hoping that it was just something the eyeglasses could correct. I wasn't thinking it was something that depth. And so from there was a lot of hope with the first surgery, then the second and the third surgery, and then the hope started kind of dwindling, because once they went in, because it was like major eye surgery, like under anesthesia and everything, and they were going into I guess laser the blood vessels or burn them or do something to them, and
the laser photocoagulation.
Okay, that's what they're calling it today. So I'm thinking, because this was back in 2007 when this was happening on the left eye. So back then, they didn't have as much advanced technology and everything else back then, because after the eye surgeries, the last treatment that they were going to start on me was blood transfusions. to try to erase some of the sickle blood out and replenish it with better blood. And but at this part, it was really complicated because it was like the retina, I still wasn't able to see, and so the air bubble, the air bubble was put in hopes that it was going to reattach the retina, but that didn't work. The air bubble was put in hope that it would reattach the retina, but that didn't work. And I can't remember which surgeries was first, second, or third at this time, because like I said, that was back in 2007, 2006, but it was like 2006 to 2008. I think the last eye surgery was in 2008. And I had to rest a lot after the surgeries, but at the same time, it was so much hope. So it was like, okay, my eye's going to get better after this surgery. It's going to get better after the next surgery. And then I found myself sitting in Social Security disability. And I was like, no, I got to walk by faith. I got to trust God, because I do have my right eye is still working. And so I just didn't give up, and I just kept pushing, kept going, and I just learned to accommodate with losing the vision in the left eye. And I just continued to have regular checkups throughout the years. And it lasted for 18 years. God gave me grace and good vision in the right eye for 18 years after that. And then it started to occur in the right eye as of October 2023. So I've had 3 laser surgeries in the right eye. And so far, it's still like if I stress or if I use the right eye for too long, I can begin to see the floaters. The floaters will come. I have a constant floater that's there. It's like he's not going anywhere. He's like a little skinny ribbon. And I have flashes of light. If I use the eye too long, or if I look at the computer, the TV too long, I start to get tension headaches around the eyebrow, around the right eye. So I have to close that eyelid and just rest it. And I have to stay hydrated, because if I'm not hydrated, then my eyelids feel like sand, like dry, like sand paper or something. So that's what I'm dealing with now. No vision in the left eye, and the right eye impaired vision due to the sickle cell retinopathy beginning to affect the right eye.
Right. And that progressive development of the retinopathy, it gets in the way of daily activities, I'm assuming. Like you said that when you are on the computer, you can't be on there too long, you can't be on the TV too long. And I like what other things that, since the retinopathy, you've learned that you cannot do like you used to?
Oh gosh, there's so many things. One is driving, because I've had 2 or 3 or more incidents where I was driving and both of the eyes started showering down black charcoal gray. One incident I remember years ago, my son was 13 and my daughter was 15. And we were driving on 290 highway, and all of a sudden it just erupted. I literally had to tell my son, jump over the seat and grab the steering wheel. I said, make sure to cross there with the white lines. Thank God there was not that much traffic up there during that time of the night. I said, and make sure, let me know when the traffic light turn yellow, green, or red, and make sure there's no cars coming. I kept my feet on the brakes and the gas, and he guided the car to the parking lot. And there was parking lot where my daughter was taking her lessons. It just so happened that I was always thinking ahead on safety measures. So I had my daughter at age 15 take driving lessons. And so she was coming out of her driving lesson class, and she had to drive us home that night. And that was very traumatic. So as of today, it just happened in 2023. I managed to make it to work just as it burst. And so now I get around with Metrolib, Uber, or my brother drives me, or I have a driver to drive me. As far as my daily, and that's just the car aspect of it. As far as my daily living, my peripheral vision is like gone. I don't have depth perception, because if I'm walking down an unfamiliar street and I can't see where the pavement ends, then I'm gonna stumble down. Or I can't see where a step begins, I'm gonna stumble, or there's a crack in the sidewalk. Even though I'm looking down and looking all around, if I don't see it, it's like blurred in, it's got camouflaged in, and I can't see it, and I'm gonna stumble. So now I have to walk with a cane. And as far as my house, like lighting candles and stuff, for some reason I could walk past that candle and not see the flame, and I have reached my hand over the candles several times and burned myself, because it's like I didn't even see the flame. And so it's little things like that that I'm experiencing as I live. And because I'm a nurse, I know to safeguard myself and put safety measures in place. So living with sickle cell retinopathy is a challenge. You know, it really is a challenge to go from being independent to dependent. It's a transition, and it's a challenge.
Okay, this sort of makes me think of, okay, the whole time you're dealing with this, of course, you mentioned you were thinking ahead, you're having your kids drive early so that in case you have these episodes, then they can take over. What did you have, like family? Did you have friends? Were they helping out? Like, did they come in? Like, this seems like it's something where it seemed like you can't fully be by yourself on, like alone, or even not even at your house, but like when you're doing stuff outside, like when you're in public, you gotta have somebody with you. Is that true?
Most of the time I feel more comfortable when somebody is with me, but I still try to navigate myself in independence. I still strive for my independence, but that's why I have a cane, and I call like the Uber driver or something like that. But yes, my family is very supportive, and my friends are very supportive. I just need to plan ahead and let them know what I need and how I need it, and they'll be there to support me. And thank God that I do have like an older mentor like Angel. If I have a surgery or something like that, she will come in and stay with me and get me back and forth to the surgeries and stuff like that. Either my mom will do it or something. But they'll get me back and forth to surgeries and stay till I'm to a point where I can do really, really again for myself.
Yeah, and we met Angel back earlier this month. We met Angel because we were at the escape retreat for sickle cell people, and then she mentioned during the camp, during that time we were in that room, and we all kind of had like a talk, like a heart-to-heart talk for all the members, and she mentioned that she the slogan that she left us with was "Live well with sickle cell." That, I think, is how, because it seems like you've managed, or you've adjusted to the lifestyle of having retinopathy, and it is very challenging. I'm assuming it's very challenging to have to speak up, or to people when they're in public, they don't pay attention to other people or like their surroundings more so, just because it's and it's like when you're out, it's not that you can't pay attention to your surroundings, you want to, but you literally don't have that perception, you don't have the peripheral vision. It depends on the crowd, or it depends on the environment, but that may seem, for people with retinopathy, living with retinopathy, it seems dangerous. question is, how do you communicate subtle cues that communicate to people? Like, do you know any of them, or do you use them?
Some of the cues are very medical safety. I wear a bracelet, that indicates, hey, I got a condition, a medical condition. I have a cane when I'm walking in a public usually, or either I'm with a friend and that friend is like, on the side of my, I would say my good eye. And, she'll tell me like, hey, Tree, watch that, or watch that. Did you see that? Stuff like that. Either my cane, I just walk with the cane. I just take my time. But when I bump into people, people bump into me, I just automatically say, hey, I'm sorry, I didn't see you right there. So sorry, like that. If I bump into, people like if it's crowded, whatever, I'm just used to apologizing and just saying, hey, I'm sorry, that I bumped into you. I didn't see you, whatever.
Yeah. Okay, that's good.
Because once they see the bracelet and they see the cane or the sunshades or whatever, they kind of automatically think, oh, she may be blind, or she may have some impaired vision or something. So I think that part kind of like speaks a little bit for itself.
Yeah. The next question that I have, I want to go back to your, medical care. And so, did the medical team that you went to, did they do enough to address the retinopathy at first? Or was it just slapping a Band-Aid on it? Did it help at all? Is it something you, because I'm assuming those 9 or 6 surgeries, I know you said you did 9 on the total vision for your eyes. Were those 9 worth it? Because I'm assuming it was a very expensive, for each of those surgeries. Was it worth all of that to have partial blindness in one eye and complete blindness in the other? Was the whole treatment process worth the pain? Was it worth the time spent in the hospital? Was it worth the money? Was it worth the relationships? All those things, of these surgeries and of the treatment that they gave to you? What was the payoff?
Let's see how to answer that one. I would say that as I was going through the first the eye surgeries on the left eye, it was all intriguing and an experience, because to me, the healthcare team and I, we all were trying to figure it out, because back then they did not give me the label of sickle cell retinopathy. That was retinal specialists who had education and awareness of the fact that it was sickle cell causing it. But it wasn't until 2023 when I got the sickle cell diagnosis that it was sickle cell retinopathy. I researched the UT Health Adult Sickle Cell Clinic, and that is where I learned more about what was going on with my body, and that it was truly a diagnosis that needed to be put down on paper or documented. So I believe back then it was a lot of just experimenting with the eye until it got to a point where it's no more we can do. And I just had to accept it at that point. But I do believe that had we been more tuned into the sickle cell aspect of it, the treatment would have looked different. I believe that we would have taken more time for me to heal, rather than me go back to work or go back to normal activity so soon. Maybe for a regular patient, going back to regular activity after eye surgery would have been sufficient. But being that it was sickle cell and the blood is constantly circulating through your body, that's causing this abnormality, I'm thinking maybe I should have probably had more IV fluids on board, or more rest or something like that to give the eye time to heal properly. I think by me going back to work so soon, it added stress earlier than what was needed and caused each and every time frame between the surgeries to not work. That's just my interpretation of it. Going forward 18 years into 2023, now that it has started affecting my right eye, I could go in now with a diagnosis of sickle cell retinopathy. And now it's like a better understanding of how to treat it, what to do for it. So, like I said, it was 6 eye surgeries on the left eye back in 2006 to 2008. That was the period, that was the range. And now in 2023 to 2024, I've had 3 eye surgeries on the right eye, which was all laser surgeries to stop the bleeding. And this time, I took my time in between each laser surgery to rest, to get the proper rest and the proper hydration that I needed. So I believe this go round, I did it differently. I rest longer, I rest more, and the doctors are like still monitor me. Even though it caused me to retire medically from work because of the longevity of resting me after each surgery, it has interfered with my career. I still have some vision in my right eye that I thank God for, that I still can function with.